Hey everyone, it's Matt, and today I've got an interesting video on the types of devices and wearables I'm using to track my health and improve my fitness. So I'm actually going to do two videos, one for the devices and one for the apps, because both are really important these days. Yeah, so obviously my goal is to get bigger and stronger. I want to get healthier, and I'm sure there's many people out there wanting to do the same. So uh, basically, I've got this guy. I also actually had this guy. So you can see they're very similar. They're both smartwatches, and I find my smartwatch the most useful thing. It's kind of like the centerpiece almost of the health related gear that I have. Um, the interesting thing about the watch is there's like so many different kinds out there that you can purchase. So I've gone with the Garmin Fenix, and I've also got the Garmin Forerunner here. But this is a much more lower end, cheaper model, which I used for over a year, to great effect. Honestly, I found it incredibly useful and insightful, the types of data it could get. But I recently purchased this guy, the Garmin Fenix 7 Solar Edition. So I'll go into why I did that. Um, and other than that, well, all you need really, all I find I need is a weighing machine. So I'm just gonna grab that. See, it's a weighing machine. It doesn't really look particularly amazing, but this is a smart weighing machine. Um, So the useful thing about the smart weighing machine that I've got here, it's a Withings, I think it's called, is it just syncs directly to my phone over the Wi-Fi. So I don't need to do any typing. I just stand on the thing. It takes my measurements, and then I can have it all logged in my Apple Health app, among other apps as well. Um, so, as far as devices, I find that's the kind of uh, necessary kit really to do tracking with a bit more data about it. You can go into other things as well. You can get blood pressure monitors. You can get continuous glucose monitoring. So depending on your types of health conditions or what you're trying to achieve, you might go into those things as well. I'm tempted to get a glucose monitor, so I'm not ruling that out, or even a blood pressure monitor, just depending on whether I feel like I really will get benefit out of it. Um, but I wanted to go in a bit more detail into this guy because this really is incredibly useful. Um, so as I mentioned, like for the past year, I've actually been using this one. So this is a Garmin Forerunner 55, which is basically practically the cheapest one that I could find at the time, and I bought this last year, just literally last year, I've been using it consistently since then. It tracks all sorts of things, my running, obviously, the workouts, the types of it does an estimation on the sort of intensity, the heart rate zones I'm in with obviously the heart rate, the also just tracking the activity I'm doing, like hit and cardio and strength training. That was very useful. But the thing that I prompted me really to upgrade to the Phoenix was I just wanted more insights into my heart health, and also my sleeping. So of course, there's many devices out there like the Whoop Band, Aura Ring, which claim to do those things too, but they are also quite expensive. You need to purchase a subscription, I don't want to wear too much stuff, so I already wear a watch anyway. So I figured, why not get a better watch that does more data on this rather than wearing something additional like a ring or a strap. And I find personally the Garmin watch itself looks really, really awesome. You can find some pictures on it on the internet. I can link them in the description. But as a guy, I absolutely find the Garmin watch aesthetic. I purchased a strap here additionally, but it just looks so like rugged. It's made of I believe it's titanium or steel or something, but it's metallic, plastic, rugged as hell. Um, it definitely looks like it'd take a beating. It just looks really awesome. So I like the aesthetic of it. Kind of like a military kind of feel, I think. It's also not like, maybe an Apple Watch, for example, because obviously I'm big into the Apple ecosystem. I've got my AirPods, I've got my MacBook, my iPhone. You'd probably expect me to have an Apple Watch, but, I don't like the Apple Watch for many reasons. Number one is you have to charge the thing all the time. The charging would definitely annoy me. I think even the Apple Watch Ultra runs out of charge after, like, 3 days. But the Phoenix and also my Forerunner, actually, the Forerunner was really good for this. I just leave it on my wrist for a month at a time and don't have to worry about it. Sometimes I run it all the way down to like 1% and I can still get through the day. So it's really nice not having to charge an additional device in your life. You spend all that time charging your phone and your laptop or whatever else you're carrying. You don't want to have to worry about your watch as well. So that's great. Um, and the reason why I upgraded to the Phoenix actually recently was because of the additional functionality it has. So I'm going to just go into that. But if you're just starting out and you want to track your sleep, your heart rates, your steps, all that kind of basic information, your runs as well with the GPS. The bog standard Garmin, I think the 55. I think there might be different. There's so many different models of the Garmin for Forerunners, even the Phoenix as well. So you're going to have to look through them. But the most basic one will do you the job. You don't need to invest too much money in this. I think mine was about 150 euros for this watch, and it's well worth it. I got so much utility out of it. I was so impressed. Really, really hats off to Garmin for creating this device. And like many devices in this similar category have drawbacks which the Garmin doesn't have. So it doesn't require you to buy a subscription. It's there. It's always going to work for you. It connects to the app. It all syncs. No additional charges. The battery life is brilliant. It's well supported. There's a whole community behind the Garmin, and it's very accurate, really. Relatively, the data that you're going to get will be usefully accurate, I think. Um, but this prompted me to sort of talk about the upgrade I did recently with the Phoenix. So I've been lusting over this watch for a long time. I really, really wanted to buy it probably this time last year actually, but I didn't because I'm always skeptical of over investing in a device that I don't know whether I'm going to get utility out of. But because I had such a good experience with the Forerunner 55, I decided this year I'll treat myself and I'll get the Phoenix 7. So of course, Garmin's going to release new versions of this watch at some point with new functionality. I think the Garmin 7 is a year old at this point. So in the life cycle of the watch, there's probably going to be an update pretty shortly after I make this video. I expect there will be a Phoenix 7S, I think, or Plus or Pro or something like that, and they'll introduce new features and things. But the features themselves, I'm sure, except for probably like a ECG monitoring or even glucose, but I think that'll be further down the road for Garmin. It's not going to make a great deal of difference to me. What I really wanted, honestly, which I found a little bit frustrating with the Forerunner, or this particular model of the Forerunner, was it didn't log all of my activities under the names that I wanted. So, for example, if I'm snowboarding, it didn't have that. There was some other activities that I just basic ones in the gym that I wanted to log, and it didn't have. But I do mostly hit and cardio and treadmill running, so it was fine. Um, but the other thing as well, which the Phoenix does, which is superior in many ways, is HRV, so heart rate variability. This uh, sensing of my heart rate is very useful for recovery, and also just the general health of where I'm at. So if I'm tracking that, which it does all day long, including the night, it will give me better information on how I'm doing for my health. It also has the oxygen level in my blood. So this is also again useful for my general health. And additionally, I do find that the sleep data that this Phoenix does is more accurate, or at least appears to be more accurate, than what I saw from my 55 Forerunner. My Forerunner was constantly telling me I was stressed, overworked, and not sleeping well. And largely should agree that's true. You know, I am fairly stressed, but I felt like I had good night's sleep often, and I didn't agree with the results. But from almost straight away from upgrading to the Phoenix, I'm seeing better sleep scores, and I feel like that's probably a little bit more accurate. And I'm sure it's to do with the fact that the Phoenix can is taking into addition like the HRV and the oxygen level is factoring that somewhat into the analysis of the sleeping. Um, so yeah, so that's my so far my early review of the Phoenix and my long-term experience of the Forerunner. I'm definitely going to spend more time with the Phoenix now and wear that as my primary watch, and enjoy it for what it is. I can always fall back to the Forerunner when if and when the Phoenix finally runs out of power. There might be little occasional times where I can use that, but you know it's a wonderful watch, and really also just I just like the look of it. Let's be honest, like it just looks so cool. So on my wrist, just looks a million times better than my Forerunner did. And I don't obviously wear any jewelry. So it's probably like the only thing that I'm really showing off a bit with is a watch. And I love it. So very very happy. Um, and as far as the weight scales, I mean, it's a weight scale. It does. I mean, there are smarter ones. There are ones that like check your heart rate and do an ECG. But I don't feel like I will get benefit from upgrading just yet to a newer one. But I do love it, with its integration with my phone and syncing the data automatically. It just saves time and effort logging that data. It doesn't make it a chore. Just step on the weight machine and it is logging it. So I want to do another video actually after this, with the types of apps I'm now using for the strategy of just getting bigger and stronger and leaner this year. Because I've really invested quite a lot of time recently in getting my diet sorted and doing things like meditation and also cultivating good habits. So all those things I'm using apps for to help me along the way. I've got a app called Macro Tracker, which I log all of my food intake through there. So that's very useful for me just cutting down right now. So I'm aiming actually now to reduce some body fat, get leaner. So this is very useful for tracking my calories, and it's very easy to use and not that difficult. Often, what I do is it actually helps me formulate the plan of what I'm going to eat the following day. So often, I type it in the day before I actually do my eating, and then I order my food online, get it delivered, and then cook it up, and it just helps me plan out the eating strategy for the next day. Um, I'm actually also using a app for tracking good habits. This is something that I've never done really before, but very useful. It's almost like a to-do list, um, but basically, you know, there's things in life that you want to do, but you need a little bit of reminding to do or encouragement. This app, you can just put those things in and you can check them off over the day. Of course, you could put everything in there, but I don't do that. I just put some sort of key top line things that I really want to improve on and get better at and doing more reliably. And what's great about this is it gives you a little chart and progress review, how you're doing cultivating those good habits. So I'll go into that as well and talk about types of habits that I'm trying to cultivate at the moment. There's also another app as well that I'm using, which I find really useful, which is for meditation. So I didn't think I would need this app, but I fell in love with it as soon as I started using it. But it just helps you with a bit of music. You can put your headphones on, you can sit down, you can do a 5 minute meditation, and just sort of clear your mind. So I'm doing that at the beginning of the day, doing a little bit of meditation. Um, and the last one is Heavy. So this app is so useful for tracking uh, the routines that I'm doing for my gym. So I'm gonna I have to go into all these apps actually in another video. I'll probably show it to you on the screen somehow. But this app absolutely fantastic because uh, your gym routine, you need to know what you're doing over the week in order to get the results. So I want to plan out basically where I am, plan out the routines, the targeted muscle groups, and also track my progress with that. Am I lifting heavier? Am I lifting more? Generally, what is my progress? So yeah, those are the main key apps now that I'm using, and I think obviously as an update from my previous video about where I was at with my diet and some of the consequences I felt like I had at that time. I feel like investing a little bit of money in these gadgets, this Garmin, and also spending some time with these apps has given me the impetus and the strategy for the goals that I was setting earlier. And I feel like I'm a much more informed now about what I'm eating. And uh, the key thing actually that is very, very useful is also because the macro tracker is tracking my key macros like protein and carbohydrates, fat, sugar, those things, those key macros, they're very useful to track. But it also gives you an estimation of how much nutrition from your vitamins like your iron, your vitamin C, your selenium, all sorts of things. It gives you an approximate idea of what those are at or from your diet. And straight away I could tell I was deficient in magnesium and I was over on my iron levels, which both of those will impact my performance. So I am going to get some lab results done. I can do that quite easily here, and we're going to actually do some tests. But having information just from my diet as well is very useful because I can track that more frequently and easier than doing a lab test all the time. So I'm looking at ways to see how the nutrition aspect is more easily available for just displaying that data on my phone, and how well I'm doing for tracking not just the macros but also the nutritional information about the food I'm eating. Yeah, I've also started doing those progress selfies I mentioned. So I've just taken one so far this week. I'm aiming to do it once a week. And we're going to do that over the next 6-12 months, and we'll do a little video hopefully this time next year on the weekly progress, and a little collage of video shots of a video of me with the body changing. Um yeah. So more updates soon. Hopefully on these apps that I mentioned. But it was also cool to show you about the watch and the weight tracker. See you soon. Bye.